Me, 23 male, and my brother, 17 male, have been living with our grandma. My mother abandoned us after my dad died 10 years ago and remarried 2 years later. Our grandma from my dad's side took care of us. Since then, our mom has only reached out to us less than 5 times. She has 2 kids with the guy she got married to. Our grandma paid our school fees and basically took the responsibility of a guardian. I, of course, went to college and finished my education and have a decent paying job. I have my own apartment where I live with my brother. Last week, my mother reached out to us. I don't know how she knew my address. Maybe my grandma told her. But she came to my apartment. Well, it was good to catch up, but she seemed sad, like something was on her mind. So she told me that her daughter had been diagnosed with a cervical cancer, and they were tight on budget and needed some money to cover her medical fee. I kindly refused. She started begging me to help, saying that she is my stepsister and I am obligated to help. I told her that she never gave a damn about us for about 10 years. She got mad and left. She told everyone that I refused to help my own mother, and now her family and even strangers are attacking me for refusing to help my stepsister. I know it's not my stepsister's fault, but I don't know how I'm obligated to help her. So guys, am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. I'm sorry about your mom. She really sucks. I think you have no more obligation to help her than you would a stranger. Maybe less if she abandoned you. If she really felt bad about what she did, or changed, she wouldn't have set her family and friends after you. Next time someone says something, just look confused and say, "You know she abandoned us when we were kids after our dad died. We're not really family anymore after that." Not the a-hole. Tell her she can use the money she saved after abandoning you and your sibling. And to those people in your life who are coming to you and telling you she's your mother, etc., etc., simply reply, she stopped being that the day she abandoned me when I was X years old. She didn't care about being my mother then when I was a child and needed a mother, and I don't care now. Not the a-hole. That is not your child and is therefore not your responsibility. The only reason your mom came to see you was to obtain money from you. Do not let someone like that into your life, especially if she condones people attacking you. They don't even know the whole situation. I am a bit stunned why a child under the age of 10 would get checked for cervical cancer. Back in my days, a girl didn't go to the OBGYN until around 12 or 13 years old. Maybe times changed that much in the past 20 years, but it strikes me as invasive to such a young kid. Be that as it may, not the a-hole. My fiance, 26 female, and I, 30 male, live in an apartment. We both work. My fiance helps her dad by sending him money every month. I send money too, and we also cook meals and send them to him. My fiance's dad has a spare key. I noticed he never really visits, just shows up when we're not home, borrows stuff like microwave, TV screen, mixer, vacuum cleaner, etc., and says he'll return it, but he never returned anything. I heard he's been struggling with rent and money. I tried to get the stuff back, but he admitted he sold them to pay for debts. His wife passed away last year, leaving medical debts for him to pay. I had so much patience and understanding. Until yesterday, when I found out that my late wife's ring was missing. It's worth a lot. I have it since she passed away in 2017. I asked my fiance's dad if he showed up yesterday, and he said no. I asked him if he took the ring, and he denied. My fiance said I was out of line to hint her dad would do anything like that. What he didn't know is that I had a camera installed outside. I was getting sick of him stomping over boundaries and giving me excuses, and my fiance tolerates his behavior by saying he's struggling. I showed him the video, and after arguing, he admitted he took it but swore up and down saying he didn't have intentions to take it, but felt tempted and now regrets it. I told him it was all right since he admitted to his mistake, and all he had to do was give me back the ring. But he said he pawned it and spent the money on more debts. I ducking lost it. I yelled at him and told him he needed to deal with his own mess and shouldn't have took something that had monetary and sentimental value, then tell me to ducking live with it just because he's struggling. I told him I'd seriously take him to court and sue him over this. My fiance looked shocked and took it as in my late wife was more important to me than her and her family. She started crying, telling me I'm free to sue him, but I should be understanding of this situation, and he's just acting out of grief and dealing with so much. Basically guilt-tripping and shaming on her family's part. I insisted, and I'm sticking to what I said. If I don't get the ring back, I'm taking him to court. My own parents are telling me to stop it, saying that will damage my relationship with him and the family, and suggested he pay me when he has money. I didn't listen. I just got the key from him and refused to argue about it anymore. I would have immediately gone to get the ring back myself, but he refused to tell me anything, which is why I said I'd resort to court. Not the a-hole. You should have changed the locks when he first started stealing stuff. He probably won't have the money if you sue him, so that might be pointless. You could file a police report, but that's an even more nuclear option. Can you ask him which pawn shop he sold it to? Maybe they still have it. Oh, not the yay-hole. File a police report and find out where it was pawned. Get it back. You provide proof it's yours and it was stolen. They have to give it back to you. Then press charges against him and kick out the fiance, because she will keep enabling his moochy klepto butt. Not the a-hole. Report it stolen. Perhaps with that you can go to the pawn shop and get it back. I don't think the pawn shop owner will have much interest in dealing with the police and so on. And, I'm sorry, but I think you should reconsider marrying her. While we can all understand she wants to help her dad, her not telling him explicitly how wrong it is that he steals from you is a big red flag. So, 3 years ago my sister inherited my great-uncle's house. The house itself was shabby, and the property tax is $300, as well as utilities, which are in her name and I'll get to. So, she's been living with her daughter and her 3 grandchildren in a property better suited for them, as this one is a 2-bedroom and pretty small. She practically begged me to move into it 3 years ago, with the promise that everything would go under my name, because she doesn't want to deal with it. At the time I had a newborn and was living with my ex-boyfriend and his mom, so the situation was more ideal, so I took the offer. When I first moved in, the house was a wreck. I didn't have too much money to get things fixed because I was still on maternity leave, but I paid to repipe the kitchen sink. Then, after 6 months, when I was financially stable, I paid to rewire the house because the electric was bad. Fast forward 6 months after that. My cousin's house was foreclosed on, so my sister invited her to live with me. She didn't ask, she just told me. I was fine with it, but I felt slighted, since technically the home was now mine, and she should have asked first. Then last year my brother, who is an addict, was homeless, and called my sister knowing about the house, and asked if he could stay a night. Me and my brother do not get along, so of course I was pissed. My sister pulled a "this is my house and he is family" move, and since then has been pulling similar moves. So my brother ended up moving in his girlfriend, and then disappearing on his bills that he split among the 3 of us living in the house. I told my sister it was her responsibility to pay them since she allowed him there and he was her guest. Of course, I ended up paying it. So after that happens, we have a leak in the upstairs bathroom. Apparently it has been leaking for years. So I pay to get that fixed, but get it in writing that upon moving my sister will pay me back in full. This is upwards of $6,000, and she agrees, saying that she would never ask me to move. So fast forward to this week. My sister's home is so bad that her landlord is going to be kicking them out soon, once the virus eviction is over. And she is asking me and my cousin to be out in 2 months so that she and her family can move into the house. I replied that's fine. If she could pay me the money that I've put into the house, then I could afford to move. I live in HI, and it is super expensive, especially on short notice to move anywhere. She texted she doesn't feel like that's going to be doable, and she will pay me in years to come. So I responded that I will have a lawyer contact her if she does not pay me back, or she can sign the house over as promised, and pay me rent to pay me back. My mom is now involved and thinks I'm being a total B about it. But I'm a single mom, and all my savings have gone into this house. And I feel like I deserve to be paid back, especially with her lying to me about how things were going to be, and it being different once I moved in. Am I the a-hole for wanting to sue my sister for my money back? Not the a-hole. Change the locks and refuse to move out until you get all your money back, not just the $6,000. That includes whatever bills you covered for her guests. Not the a-hole. You should sue. You have a great case for verbal contract, promissory estoppel, and/or unjust enrichment. You might be able to get the house, not just your money. Not the a-hole. Your sister is, both for not upholding her end of the deal, and also for forcing you to move instead of just finding somewhere else for herself to live. I get that this option is free, but she essentially told you the house was yours, and wasn't using it, and is now reneging on that. So, my boyfriend and I have been dating for 6 years, and we have a 2-year-old daughter. So, our daughter is very light-skinned, British, but has curly hair, and looks like a lighter-skinned version of myself. Every year, my boyfriend's Japanese side of his family throw a huge party for all the grandkids, and last year was our first year going. The minute I walked into the party, I could feel the awkwardness, as I was the only dark-skinned person there. Fast forward an hour. It's my daughter's turn to get her gift from Santa, and the first thing that goes wrong is that they say, "My boyfriend's name's Baby." And her name is not that difficult. It's Kayla, said how it is spelled. But they did not even try. Then when we went up to take the picture, they seemed to have rushed us along. Nobody counted 1, 2, 3 as they did for everyone else, and no one tried to make the baby smile again. Minor. I take my daughter's gift on the side and open it, and I wasn't sure if it was a joke or just an a-hole move, but it was all blue clothes, and blue bedding for a baby boy, not my daughter, and it had a musty smell. When I took it under better lighting, I realized there were yellow stains all over the clothes, as if it was in storage for years. As we are getting ready to leave, his dad orchestrates a picture of all the family, which consists of friends and family and significant others. While I was holding my daughter getting ready for the picture, the dad calls me over, and at the time I thought it was a joke. But he was asking me to take the picture, and signaling for a friend of a cousin to hop in and give me the camera. My boyfriend, being the guy he is, grabbed the camera and told his dad, "No, I'll do it. She's holding the baby." His dad then made a bigger butt of himself and told him, "Get in the picture. Blank, come take it. Grandma is waiting." I felt very embarrassed, and instead of taking the picture, I grabbed my things and went to the car. Shortly after, my boyfriend came in and found me crying. I told him how it made me feel, and let him know the other things that occurred throughout the night, and he agreed it was messed up and we were leaving. Now this year I told my boyfriend I wouldn't be attending any more parties with his Japanese side of his family, until things changed, and that neither would the baby. He's now upset with me. He understands why I wouldn't attend, but doesn't understand why his daughter couldn't see her other side of his family, especially now that she's a little older, able to talk and interact. The cute stage. It is very hard for me to explain to him how his family might treat her differently, as they do me, because she is not light-skinned, or because she doesn't look Japanese like the other kids, and how I cannot allow that to be in her life. Am I the a-hole for not allowing her to get to know her father's side of the family because of how they treated me? Not the a-hole. Based on the gift that your daughter received, I'd say that they treated her badly as well. That family sounds like a bunch of a-holes to me, and a young child shouldn't be in such an environment in my opinion. Yes, the a-hole. The family sounds like a big a-hole. However, they are your husband's family. No matter how much that sucks, it is what it is. He has a right to share your daughter with his family. She'll have the choice when she's older to decide whether or not she wishes to continue a relationship with her. Not the a-hole. This is never okay, and your boyfriend may not understand that his family is only trying to make him break up with you because you're not Japanese and or Asian. Same for your daughter, who they don't treat well either. You must stand your ground and never go back to those gatherings, and you must make and choose these options. Either your family or my daughter and me. Because if you won't listen because of pride or whatever, then you must take action now. So, my boyfriend and I have been together for about 6 years now, and we share a 2-year-old daughter. Before I met him, I was in a serious relationship that was extremely aggressive, and I haven't seen my ex-boyfriend for a few years. But while I was out eating with my daughter and my mother-in-law, an old mutual friend of my ex and I saw me, and as she was saying hi, she took one look at my daughter and asked if that was my ex and I's kid. I let her know that we never had any kids, and that she's 2. After I told her that, she laughed and said, "Hey, she looks like him for some reason," which in my opinion was extremely rude, especially because she knew that we had been broken up for a long time, and my daughter was still really young. When she left, my mother-in-law was making jokes about it, saying, "I never knew you guys had a secret baby." And then she started to ask me when was the last time I saw him. I answered with, "I don't really even remember, but it has got to be at least 3 years ago." I explained to her that I saw him in passing once, and it was an awkward moment because it was in Walmart, and she kind of laughed it off. Fast forward to Wednesday, and me and my boyfriend are having lunch, and he asks me if I would ever take a DNA test for him. I answered, no, I wouldn't see the point, but that if he wanted me to, I certainly would, and I would also feel offended, the same way he would if I asked to check his phone records going back 5 years. He told me I was being irrational, and when I asked why he even randomly asked me that, he said that his mom had ordered a DNA test and wanted him to have me conducted on the baby, because people have been telling her she doesn't look anything like her. A little background. My daughter looks like both of us. I am black and he is white with hazel eyes. She has caramel, brown eyes and has curly hair that has blonde highlights, while mother-in-law is blonde-haired and blue-eyed. He and his mother look nothing alike, and him asking for a DNA test would insinuate that I cheated on him 2 years ago, which also offends me. For now I am refusing the DNA test, almost as a way to protest him offending me in such a way. But then I also feel like it makes me look guilty. I told my best friend about it, and she said I should just take the test and then take a break from the relationship, because that means he didn't trust me. I tried to explain to him how it almost feels like my ex is still being aggressive to me by having me be questioned, and having our kid be questioned, and it seemed like it registered to him. We curbed the discussion after I explained that to him, but now his mom is texting me about it saying she spent so much money on the test and she needs to know for her own sanity, which is making me upset again. Am I the a-hole here for refusing the DNA test? What the duck? His mom wants a DNA test because her biracial granddaughter doesn't look enough like her? It sounds like he's never had any reason not to trust you before, and he's risking your relationship because of an offhand comment by a stranger. You are so not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Time-wise, she can't be anyone's child but your partner's, from what I can tell. And honestly, I don't know if I would ever trust my mother-in-law if she so solidly believes you cheated, that a test would prove you did, you know? Not the a-hole. And this is a perfect opportunity for your boyfriend to prove his loyalty to you by standing up to his mother. I suspect all of this tension is coming from her and not from him. Update. My boyfriend and his mother got into it pretty bad last night. He told her she was a bee for always trying to make his girlfriends feel like crap so they will leave him, and that her shady past has blurred her vision of how relationships work. She told him I was probably sleeping around to get over my ex, even though it was at least 5 or 6 years since we had already broken up, and that she demanded a test before she kept treating her like a grandbaby. I told her we will not be talking to her ever again, and that she needs to ask his dad for a test because she sounds like she's projecting.